Hey, this is Leo, and welcome to Music Monday. Whoa. Alright, we got a special spicy one for you here today. For those of you who don't know, there's a little bit of a guitar community here on YouTube, and one of the channels that has recently been making headlines is Sor Hands. Yes, the one and only, the tyrant, the sardonic, the grad student. And about 1 week ago, Sor Hands released a video roasting me and my guitar playing. So we're gonna watch this and engage in some discourse. Also, at the end of the video, I'm gonna play this again, and I'm gonna show you how much of a difference 1 week of diligent practice can make, especially with some advice from a guitar teacher. Let's jump into it.
Hey, this is Cameron, and welcome to the reaction log. Whoa.
Seems eerily familiar somehow.
Those of you that might not know, there's sort of a community of guitarists here on YouTube that we've all kind of gravitated towards each other. The only thing I am active with is uploading videos almost every freaking day, editing while in grad school. I'm in grad school, by the way. I just got back from school, actually.
Oh, he's in grad school, by the way. Did you know that?
And there's also a group of people learning classical guitar, one of which is going to be Leo Thom Music with 818 subscribers.
My man, you claim to be my former teacher. You can't even say my name right? It's Leo Thom Music. I forgive you. And actually, we're up to 837 subscribers at the time of recording this video. So thank you very much for those sweet views and subscribers that you sent my way. We all know that that's what this is really about, not guitar.
But he posted this video, and you know I have to freaking look at this. Like, I rage bait you guys. This is rage baiting me right here. 6 months of self-taught classical guitar. What does that even mean? By the way, let me go ahead and introduce myself in case you're new here. I am a classical guitarist here on YouTube. What does it mean to be a classical guitarist? It means that...
Nice zoom there. By the way, let me go ahead and introduce myself in case you're new here. I am a self-taught musician here on YouTube. I upload videos every Monday. Sometimes they're diss tracks, sometimes they're full EPs, sometimes it's guitar, and sometimes it is ripping Sor Hands content. Will I ever pick a niche and stop confusing the YouTube algorithm? Who knows? I have no idea how Sor Hands pumps out videos every other day. Once a week is enough to be difficult for me.
There kind of is no self-teaching because classical guitar is a hundreds of year old tradition. And if you're not learning from the tradition being solo concert repertoire for the nylon or acoustic, nylon gut string guitar, whatever you want to call it. If you're not learning that, are you really even learning classical guitar then? Or are you just playing a nylon string guitar and playing your own stuff? You can claim self-taught on that, sure. But if you're learning classical guitar, you probably aren't self-taught. Your teachers might be distant from you. They might not talk to you. They might be dead. But, you know, you're still learning from someone. This is a stupid point that I'm making. It doesn't actually matter. Listen, here's the deal. We're gonna listen to Leo play a Carcassi etude. You know the one. It's Opus 60 number 7, I believe. The Perpetual Motion A minor. Let me go ahead and... Whoa, Sor Hands actually plays guitar on camera. Holy crap. That one. You guys know the one. It's funny because I remember when he first started learning it,
okay?
And it's hard to believe that it's already been 6 months.
This is one of the only things that I really want to philosophically engage Sor Hands about, which is the semantics of being self-taught. Honestly, I'm a little tired of this rhetoric.
This is a stupid point that I'm making.
I feel like there are so many people who care a lot about whether receiving lessons or learning a tradition means you are self-taught or not. I think that a lot more of this has to do with the fact that there are many people in the world who do not have the resources to be able to receive regular musical mentorship or teaching. And I'll be honest, I've received lessons on and off throughout my musical guitar career. I had about 2 years of lessons when I was 13 to 15, just learning how to play the guitar. A good friend of mine gave me some theory and jazz lessons about a year to year and a half ago now. And even with classical guitar, I've had 2.5 lessons, maybe now 3 after this video, from John Crossley and from Sor Hands. So I'll say, having teachers, receiving lessons, receiving guidance is so meaningful and so important. It's been a huge part of my musical journey as well. But I certainly feel like I'm kind of in a different zone from people who have gone to school for music, people who have had the opportunity to receive really in-depth, many years long pedagogical instruction. There are huge advantages in that, you know, and I think maybe there are some disadvantages too. But what about all the people out there who do not have access to that, who are interested in learning classical guitar? I feel like it's a disservice to the music and to the people to say you can't learn it because of your life circumstance. Anyway, Sor Hands is right. This is my very first piece that I've ever learned front to back. I've only really been practicing classical guitar consistently for the last 6 months, and I only had a couple of lessons from John Crossley and Sor Hands right at the very beginning. So if you ask me, I'm a self-taught classical guitarist, and this is an exploration of how far you can go with any type of music, even if you don't have access to consistent teaching or pedagogy.
Music Monday, folks.
Nice zoom in on that. I guess I can go ahead and give you some backstory with Leo. He posts every Monday. It's called Music Monday. It's generally good, wholesome vibes, so if you're interested in that, that can be something for you. We had one meeting. We didn't even talk about Carcassi. I'm pretty sure we just talked about the beret of 996, what he was playing at the time. So yeah, we can count that as a guitar lesson, which means that you now and forever will be my student. Sorry, it's just how it works. That's how it works with Brandon, too. I will be forever his student. There's nothing I can do about it. So he just has that power over me, and now I have that power over you. You might be wondering what kind of power comes with being someone's guitar teacher. It means that when they die, you get to decide if they go to heaven or if they walk the earth for all of eternity. It's a lot of responsibility, so tread lightly. Anybody I've taught. It's all true, by the way. There's a reason why I look like this. I am the judge, the ultimate judge. Do right by me.
Oh my god, I didn't realize that classical guitar teachers are also Sith lords. You know, it's fun for me thinking back on that first meeting we had over Zoom. I didn't record it. It was like 15 minutes. I vividly remember Cameron being like, okay, so you're plucking the strings like this. What you need to do is keep a relaxed wrist and imagine that you're pulling your fingers in towards your palm like that. And I remember trying it and like hitting a bunch of the strings at the same time and being like, this is so hard. Like, I feel like I'm hitting all the strings. Are you sure? And he was like, yeah, you just get used to it. Now at 6 months in, it's starting to feel like it's becoming second nature.
See how many takes it takes to get something passable.
Dude, just do the classical guitar thing where you just record it separately, punching in individual notes, and then just mime along to it.
No. If I do that, you'll come after me like you go after Marcin for being fake.
Take 3, I appreciate the transparency. Whoa, immediately off the bat, so much better than I remember it.
Whoa, immediately off the bat. That doesn't feel like I'm being roasted.
Let's keep it going. What did I just hear there? What was that? Boop-a-da-da-do. I've heard of Baroque ornamentation, but that sounded more like Baroque ornamentation, if you know what I'm saying. I'm just kidding. That's totally a joke. But there's no reason why you shouldn't play that. I feel like for me, it's a little off-putting hearing a G natural when we're like so clearly in the key of A minor. Just it gives it this like Aeolian, almost like modal feel. Like kind of like rock music, you know? If I were going to do an ornament like that, I would probably do G sharp, the leading tone of the key. So it'd be like a... versus... I think it'll give it less of that modal, like jammy sound and more of harmonic minor, like more what you'd expect in a classical minor tune sound. Of course, it doesn't actually matter, but knowledge is power, and it might be useful to know when it's appropriate to do your ornament there, and then also maybe just not doing an ornament, because again, this is a perpetual motion piece, and it's all kind of fast, and it's already 16th notes. You can add in 30-second notes if you want, but it's certainly not necessary. Sometimes when I'm playing informally, like if I'm playing in the Tuesday masterclass, it's just the other grad students and some undergrads. If I play it and I feel like I really killed it, sometimes I'll get excited at the end and I'll do something like... You know, some like silly thing like that. And I know not to do that if I'm in an audition or something and I want somebody to take me seriously, but it's still like fun to play and I feel like it kind of expresses how I'm feeling, so that's important. So I don't know, I feel like that ornament can kind of relate to that a bit. Like obviously if you're doing an audition, I wouldn't do it, but if you were in any other situation, like I don't know, you're trying to have fun making music, making people happy by playing some Carcassi for them, then do that, that's fine.
I want to talk about this briefly because this is an ornament that I have been adding in the entire time, both in this section, also here. I'll say, hearing your commentary on it does feel very informative as far as the modal choices that are being made and why you might choose to use an ornament in a certain way. And I don't know. I feel like this is part of my issue with the strict pedagogy of classical. What if I like inserting a little bit of a modern rock-y twist into the performance of this? Even in a classical context, like I get that you're meant to be learning the tradition and how it was played then, but why wouldn't a modern interpretation include something that is from a different time period? I feel like that could be very interesting if the choice is made purposefully. Anyway, I've taken your advice into account, and if you watch to the end of the video, you'll see that I've made adjustments as far as where and how the ornaments are happening.
So when you played this part here, it feels like it slowed down a lot there, and I think you could really ease into that retard.
The first thing I want to say is, what is up with classical musicians and their obsession with slurs? I did appreciate your advice here because the way it slowed down there felt like a choice I was making, but also didn't feel quite right. And I've adjusted it. So again, you'll see at the end how it's changed.
Overall, that first section is sounding way better than I last heard it. It sounds smooth, it sounds articulated, it's sounding good. Alright, let's move on. So for that section there, all of it was well executed. It was well played. I think you could feel the music a little more though, because it is this really interesting like circle of fifths, like tonic dominant. And I think when we have those more dominant intervals, like we have a minor seventh here and then a tritone here, those are tense. And then it resolves. And then it resolves. And now it's all finally last tritone resolving to the dominant of the key, and then we're gonna hang out on the dominant. And I guess an easy way to do this is I would just think anytime you see accidentals like that, like if there's an accidental in the interval that you're playing, just play it louder and maybe like hang on to it just for a second. I'm
bold of you to assume that I am reading music at this stage. I still cannot really read music very well. It's a skill I'd love to add. I think I can read it at the skill of maybe like a preschool sight reading type ability. The advice nonetheless was helpful. I've tried to incorporate it, and we'll see at the end how well that's gone in 1 week.
All right, moving on. This is the first time I'm really noticing it, but I'm noticing a bit of a gallop in your playing, like until we get to this section, is either tremolo, depending on how you're fingering it, or just IMI or whatever, or it's some kind of string crossing. So you got those don't sound like they have a gallop, but now we're doing slur and then pick notes on one string. The biggest technical thing that you can do right now for this piece is practicing those slurs, making each note extremely even. And whatever you think practicing slow is, cut that in half. I'm talking like bum, dum, dum, dum. And even when you do that slur, try to keep the full body note that you hear when you pluck it as best you can. Versus like having a hard time making my slurs sound bad. I'm sorry. So I would just practice doing that and then keeping them even notes between pick and slur. And I promise you, if you do that for a couple of days, just for like 5 or 10 minutes, your hands will automatically get the feeling for playing those notes even. And that's like the last and the first technical issue that I really noticed. So fixing that, like you're golden after that. So
I feel like there's more technical issues, but I appreciate it. And I will say this advice was actually really helpful, and I did practice this over the week. Probably still not slow enough, but I found that really the most difficult note for me was the one right after the slur. So if we're playing here and I'm like, it's that note right there. So that was very helpful advice, and we'll see how well it comes out at the end.
all right. Also, sorry, I feel like I need to make some jokes. Hey, nice lamp. What do you like, seeing things? What do you can't see in the dark? What are you, stupid? I don't know. Nice fish hat. Fish hat. What do you like, fish? Hey, nice cloth texture on the wall. What do you live in some German house or something? Okay.
Doxing me? You think that's funny? That hat was hand embroidered by my wife. you think that's funny? You think blindness is funny? This bully must be stopped.
I'd also really pay attention to those E's there. You're playing a lot of E's there in a row, and that can get really grating. And I think something that can help break up the monotony of that E is to, again, feel the tension and release. I'll try to do this. You can even play it by itself to really hear the bottom, bottom. And I'm trying to not give that much attention to the E because it's literally the most boring part of the music.
This was good advice, and I worked on the dynamics of this section, but I disagree with how you characterize the E. I actually think it can be quite interesting if you play with the dynamic range. Hopefully you'll see what I mean at the end of the video, but I think it's much better now. Thanks for the tip.
Yeah. The least practiced part, of course. That's always how it is. Everybody experiences that. I experienced that. Guess what the least comfortable part of my prelude is? It's the last two lines. And this is probably the last part that you learned, part that you play the least, I'm sure. If you want to go ahead and remedy that, this is the first thing you work on going forward. Whatever you did with the first 8 lines, do that with this part for the next couple of months, and it'll all be smooth. It'll all be really good.
Guess what I practiced the most over the last week? Hopefully it comes out at the end. We'll see.
That section is very similar to the first section where I said that there was all that pushing and pulling. Same advice there, but learn it as well as you know the first section, because you definitely know the first section better than that. Also, just a little like basic advice, try not to mess up the second to last note or the last note.
You know, I actually thought it was good to mess up the second to last or last note. Are you sure? I intended to do that there. So, you know, maybe that's just a little self-taught sauce that you scholastic guitarists can't appreciate, but...
Nice. So let's actually talk about that ending. This is kind of unimportant, but it's a little important when you're playing such stuffy classical music. The way it ends matters a little bit. So what you did was you played it. So your finger's still on the note, and then you gave out the sigh, indicating that your body is done with the piece, but your hands are still playing, like the note is ringing. So the piece is still going on, kind of, but you've walked away from it. So it's like, it's just weird as an audience member watching that. What I would do is play it, cut it off, give it a moment, and then sigh. And it might seem silly, but you are playing classical music and showing off what you got, and I am just a classical guitarist telling you what I know. Overall, I think you should be very proud of this performance because it was quite good, especially for only 6 months of just playing classical guitar.
Overall, I think you should feel very proud of this video, and I mean that unironically. Actually, I really appreciate you making this, you know, for me and also for a bunch of other people in the comments. It seemed like a lot of people enjoyed this lesson type video. Honestly, I think in a world where not everyone has access to teachers or to pedagogy, it's stuff like this out there on the internet for free that makes a big difference.
And yeah, again, overall, I thought that was really great. Really good progress on that. I love seeing months 1 through 3 as more dedicated practice. I don't like seeing months 4 through 6 being less dedicated. Here's to making months 7 through 9 dedicated as F. And that goes for all of you too. If I've given you a guitar lesson or not, let's make these next 3 months about practicing classical guitar. And you know what? Just because I'm nice, maybe just any kind of guitar. I don't care. Just practice something with conviction.
Before we get to more practice, I gotta show you how the last week of diligent practice with this advice went. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. Let me know how you think it went.